The One-Year Bible, the Living Bible paraphrased. The Lord gave these further instructions to Moses and Aaron. Each tribe will have its own tent area with its flagpole and tribal banner, and at the center of these tribal compounds will be the tabernacle. Here are the tribal locations. Judah, east side of the tabernacle. Issachar, next to Judah. Zebulun, next to Issachar. Reuben, south side of the tabernacle. Simeon, next to Reuben. Gad, next to Simeon. Ephraim, west side of the tabernacle. Manasseh, next to Ephraim. Benjamin, next to Manasseh. Dan, north side of the tabernacle. Asher, next to Dan. Naphtali, next to Asher. So all the total of those on Judah's side of the camp was 186,400. These three tribes led the way whenever the Israelites traveled to a new campsite. So the total of the Reuben side of the camp was 151,450. These three tribes were next in line whenever the Israelites traveled. Next in line of the march was the tabernacle with the Levites. When traveling, each tribe stayed together under its own flag, just as each was separate from the others in camp. So the total on the Ephraim side of the camp was 108,100. They were next in the line of march. So the total of Dan's side of the camp was 157,600. They brought up the rear whenever Israel traveled. In summary, the armies of Israel totaled 603,550, not including the Levites, who were exempted by Jehovah's commandment to Moses. So the people of Israel set up their camps, each tribe under its own banner, in the locations indicated by the Lord to Moses. At the time when the Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, Aaron's sons were Nadab, his oldest, Abihu, Eleazar, Ithamar. All were anointed as priests and set apart to minister at the tabernacle. But Nadab and Abihu died before the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai when they used unholy fire. And since they had no children, this left only Eleazar and Ithamar to assist their father Aaron. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Summon the tribe of Levi and present them to Aaron and his assistants. They will follow his instructions and perform the sacred duties at the tabernacle on behalf of all the people of Israel. For they are assigned to him as representatives of all the people of Israel. They are in charge of all the furnishings and maintenance of the tabernacle. However, only Aaron and his sons may carry out the duties of the priesthood. Anyone else who presumes to assume this office shall be executed." And the Lord said to Moses, "I have accepted the Levites in substitution for all the oldest sons of the people of Israel. The Levites are mine in exchange for all the oldest sons. From the day I killed all the oldest sons of the Egyptians, I took for myself all the firstborn in Israel of both men and animals. They are mine. I am Jehovah." The Lord now spoke again to Moses at Sinai Peninsula, telling him, "Take a census of the tribe of Levi, indicating each person's clan. Count every male down to 1 month old." So Moses did. Responsibilities. The responsibility of these two clans of Levites was the care of the tabernacle, its coverings, its entry drapes, the drapes covering the fence surrounding the courtyard, the screen at the entrance of the courtyard surrounding the tabernacle, the altar, and all the ropes used in tying the tabernacle together. Responsibilities. The responsibility of these 4 clans of Levites was the care of the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, the various utensils used in the tabernacle, the veil, and any repairs needed on any of these items. Note: Eleazar, Aaron's son, shall be the chief administrator over the leaders of the Levites, with special responsibility for the oversight of the sanctuary. Responsibilities. The responsibility of these two clans was the care of the frames of the tabernacle building, the post, the bases for the post, and all of the equipment needed for their use, the post around the courtyard, and their bases, pegs, and ropes. The area east of the tabernacle was reserved for the tents of Moses and of Aaron and his sons, who had the final responsibility for the tabernacle on behalf of the people of Israel. Anyone who was not a priest or Levite but came into the tabernacle was to be executed. So all the Levites, as numbered by Moses and Aaron at the command of the Lord, were 22,000 males, 1 month old and older. Then the Lord said to Moses, Now take a census of all the eldest sons in Israel, who are 1 month old and older, and register each name. The Levites shall be mine. I am Jehovah, as substitutes for the eldest sons of Israel, and the Levites' cattle are mine, as substitutes for the firstborn cattle of the whole nation. So Moses took a census of the eldest sons of the people of Israel, as the Lord had commanded, and found the total number of the eldest sons, 1 month old and older, to be 22,273. Now the Lord said to Moses, Give me the Levites instead of the eldest sons of the people of Israel, and give me the cattle of the Levites instead of the firstborn cattle of the people of Israel. Yes, Levites shall be mine. I am Jehovah, to redeem the 273 eldest sons in excess of the number of Levites. Pay $5 for each one to Aaron and his sons. So Moses received redemption money for the 273 eldest sons of Israel, who were in excess of the number of Levites. All the others were redeemed because the Levites had been given to the Lord in their place. The money collected came to a total of 1,365, and Moses gave it to Aaron and his sons as the Lord had commanded. The Gospel of Mark, chapter 11, verse 26 through chapter 12, verse 17. By this time they had arrived in Jerusalem again, and as he was walking through the temple area, the chief priests and other Jewish leaders came up to him demanding, What's going on here? Who gave you the authority to drive out the merchants? Jesus replied, I'll tell you if you answer one question. What about John the Baptist? Was he sent by God or not? Answer me. They talked it over among themselves. If we reply that God sent him, then he will say, All right, why didn't you accept him? But if we say God didn't send him, then the people will start a riot. For the people all believe strongly that John was a prophet. So they said, We can't answer, we don't know. To which Jesus replied, Then I won't answer your question either. Here are some of the story illustrations Jesus gave to the people at that time. A man planted a vineyard and built a wall around it and dug a pit for pressing out the grape juice and built a watchman's tower. Then he leased the farm to tenant farmers and moved to another country. At grape picking time, he sent one of his men to collect his share of the crop, but the farmers beat up the man and sent him back empty-handed. The owner then sent another of his men, who received the same treatment, only worse, for his head was seriously injured. The next man he sent was killed, and later others were either beaten or killed, until there was only one left, his only son. He finally sent him, thinking they would surely give him their full respect. But when the farmers saw him coming, they said, He will own the farm when his father dies. Come on, let's kill him, and then the farm will be ours. So they caught him and murdered him and threw his body out of the vineyard. What do you suppose the owner will do when he hears what happened? He will come and kill them all and lease the vineyard to others. Don't you remember reading this verse in the scriptures? The rock the builders threw away became the cornerstone and the most honored stone in the building. This is the Lord's doing, and it is amazing, and it is an amazing thing to see. The Jewish leaders wanted to arrest him then and there for using this illustration, for they knew he was pointing at them. They were the wicked farmers in his story, but they were afraid to touch him for fear of the mob, so they left him and went away. But they sent other religious and political leaders to talk with him and to try to trap him into saying something he could be arrested for. "Teacher," these spies said, "we know you tell the truth no matter what. You aren't influenced by the opinions and desires of men, but sincerely teach the ways of God. Now tell us, is it right to pay taxes to Rome or not?" Jesus saw their trick and said, "Show me a coin and I'll tell you." When they handed it to him, he asked, "Whose picture and title is on the coin?" They replied, "The emperor's." "All right," he said, "if it is his, give it to him. But everything that belongs to God must be given to God." And they scratched their heads in bafflement at his reply. Psalm 47 verses 1 through 9. Come everyone and clap for joy. Come everyone and clap for joy. Shout triumphant praises to the Lord. For the Lord, the God above all gods, is awesome beyond words. He is the great King of all the earth. He subdues the nations before us and will personally select his choicest blessings for his Jewish people, the very best for those he loves. God has ascended with a mighty shout, with trumpets blaring. Sing out your praises to our God, our King. Yes, sing your highest praises to our King, the King of all the earth. Sing thoughtful praises. He reigns above the nations, sitting on his holy throne. The Gentile rulers of the world have joined us. The Gentile rulers of the world have joined with us in praising him, praising the God of Abraham. For the battle shields of all the armies of the world are his trophies. He is highly honored everywhere. Proverbs chapter 10, verses 24 and 25. The wicked man's fears will all come true, and so will the good man's hopes. Disaster strikes like a cyclone, and the wicked are whirled away, but the good man has a strong anchor.